Captain Alex Mercer had never expected that a routine mission to Scytheria would change his life forever. The human starship Intrepid glided silently through the black of space, its sleek silver hull reflecting distant stars. Alex, a man in his early 30s with a calm, sharp mind, stood on the bridge checking readings and scanning the planet below. Scytheria, with its purple skies and floating islands, was unlike anything humans had seen before. "Approaching orbit," reported Lieutenant Caravas, her fingers flying across the console. "Sensors show the capital city intact, no signs of enemy ships." Alex nodded. He had a sense of relief, but also a subtle tension. First contact missions were always unpredictable, especially with alien civilizations as advanced as Scytheria. The Scytherians were known across the galaxy for their intelligence, beauty, and strict hierarchy. The Empress ruled with absolute authority, and humans were still a novelty to them. The shuttle landed on the crystal-white landing pad in the center of Scytheria's floating capital. Towers of transparent metal rose like giant crystals, catching the light of the planet's two suns. The air was thin but breathable, and Alex marveled at the alien architecture, delicate yet strong, impossible-looking yet perfectly stable. "Remember," Alex whispered to his team, "we're here to establish diplomacy, nothing more. No experiments, no surprises. We represent humanity. Stay professional." The shuttle doors opened, and a wave of Scytherian guards greeted them. They were tall, slim beings, with shimmering skin that reflected the colors of Scytheria's sky. Their eyes were large and almond-shaped, glowing faintly with intelligence and curiosity. At their head was Empress Liara. Liara floated slightly above the ground, her presence commanding and graceful. Her deep violet eyes scanned Alex and his team, measuring, calculating. She wore a ceremonial robe made of glowing threads shimmering in the light. When she spoke, her voice carried authority and warmth, an unusual combination. "Welcome to Scytheria, Captain Mercer," she said, her tone polite but firm. "I am Empress Liara. Your arrival has been noted with interest." Alex bowed slightly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. Humanity comes in peace. We hope to establish friendship and cooperation between our worlds." Liara nodded once. "Then you shall have an audience in the royal chamber." The corridors of the palace were a labyrinth of crystal and light. As Alex walked, he noticed that the walls shifted colors with every step, responding to movement. The air carried a subtle hum, like energy flowing beneath the surface. Everything on Scytheria seemed alive. In the royal chamber, the Empress's advisors and ministers waited. They were all Scytherians, each exuding authority, yet each watching Alex with suspicion. The human's sudden presence had unsettled the court. A human king was unheard of, impossible, many thought. Before Alex could speak, an alarm blared. Red lights flashed, and the hum of the palace intensified. "Raiders! Space raiders!" shouted one of the ministers, panic in his voice. "They breached the perimeter." Chaos erupted. Scytherian guards rushed to defense stations, weapons of glowing energy appearing in their hands. Alex instinctively ducked behind a crystal pillar as projectiles tore through the room. His heart raced, but his mind was sharp. He signaled his team. "Defensive formation," he shouted. "Cover the Empress." But the attack was fast, coordinated, and brutal. Explosions shook the palace. One raider, a strange alien with jagged armor, lunged at Alex. He rolled aside but felt a sudden, searing pain across his head. Darkness swallowed him. When Alex woke, the world was not as he expected. The palace was quiet, eerily so. Guards hovered nearby, watching him carefully. And at the center of the room, Liara's face was calm, almost smiling. "He's awake," she announced, loud enough for the ministers and guards to hear. "Captain Alex Mercer is conscious, and henceforth, he shall be your king." The words hit Alex like a shockwave. He blinked, trying to process. "King?" he asked, voice hoarse. What are you talking about?" The Empress walked closer, her gaze unwavering. "The Empire is in danger. My position is threatened, and as the prophecy foretells, a foreign leader will guide Scytheria through crisis. You, human, are that leader. For now." Alex stared at her, trying to make sense of the sentence. I'm just a visitor. I'm not. You are unconscious at the wrong moment, she interrupted, her tone firm but not cruel. Your presence is required. Leadership cannot wait for your understanding. The council and citizens will see you as their king. It is necessary to maintain order. He opened his mouth to protest, but Liara held up a delicate hand. Around her, the ministers and guards nodded, silently agreeing. Alex felt a strange tension. He was human, a stranger, and now somehow a figure of authority in an alien world he barely understood. Your Majesty, Alex said cautiously, I don't know your customs or laws. I'm not trained to lead an alien empire. Perhaps, Liara said softly, almost kindly. But humans have something Zetharians admire: resilience, creativity, and courage. If you survive this day, you may earn your place. Alex swallowed, hard. The weight of the crown, though it was metaphorical for now, pressed on his mind. Outside, he could hear the faint sounds of the raiders retreating. But the damage was done. Zetharia had been shaken, and he was now at the center of it all. Follow me, Liara said. We have much to discuss, and much for you to learn. Led him through a side corridor into a private chamber. Holographic maps of Zetharia floated in the air, showing troop positions, city layouts, and vulnerable points in the Empire's defenses. Alex's head spun with information overload. You will need to understand our politics, Liara began. The council is wary of outsiders. Some see you as a threat. Some see you as a savior. You must convince them that your presence is beneficial. Alex took a deep breath. And if I fail? Then chaos will follow. Zetharia may fall and the prophecy will remain unfulfilled, Liara said, her eyes serious. Alex ran his hands through his hair. He had faced impossible odds before, but never like this. He was not just surviving. He was now expected to lead an alien civilization. And his mind, trained for diplomacy, combat, and exploration, was suddenly a chess piece in a game with stakes he barely understood. Start with the basics, Liara instructed. Learn the council, learn the people, and learn to trust your instincts. Humans are strange to us, yet perhaps it is your strangeness that will save Zetharia. Alex nodded, trying to mask the fear he felt. He glanced at her, realizing that she too carried enormous burdens, the weight of her empire and the future of her child yet to be born. There was no time for hesitation. Suddenly, a soft alarm sounded in the room. Liara's eyes narrowed. Another signal. The raiders. They have allies, but not here, not yet. You must rest for now, Captain, but prepare yourself. Tomorrow the council will meet, and your trial begins. Alex lay down on a simple bed in the chamber, staring at the ceiling, his mind racing. He was conscious, alive, and yet completely unprepared. The life he knew on Earth, missions, training, ordinary problems, was gone. Here, on a distant planet, he was both a guest and a ruler. Sleep did not come easily. Visions of alien skies, flashing weapons, and Liara's calm but commanding presence haunted him. He realized that the universe was far larger and stranger than he had imagined, and humans, resilient and clever, could carve a place even among the stars. As night fell on Zetharia, the planet's floating cities glimmered under twin moons. And somewhere in the palace, a human named Alex Mercer began his journey. From explorer to unexpected king, from outsider to perhaps the savior this alien world never expected. Tomorrow, everything would change. Morning on Zetharia arrived in a swirl of violet and gold. The twin suns bathed the floating cities in a dazzling glow, and Alex Mercer awoke to a world both familiar and completely alien. His head still throbbed from the events of the previous day, the sudden attack, the confusion, and most unsettling of all, Empress Liara's declaration that he was now king. He sat up on the bed in the chamber, rubbing his eyes. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing maps of the Empire, troop movements, and messages from council members. To a human, It was overwhelming. But Alex had always thrived under pressure. Liara entered quietly, her flowing robes brushing the floor, her eyes calm yet determined. "Good morning, Captain," she said, using the title with care. "Or perhaps, Your Majesty." Alex groaned, rubbing the back of his neck. "I'm still getting used to that one," he admitted. "I never signed up to be a king, and now I'm supposed to govern an empire I barely understand." Liara smiled faintly. "True leadership is not born from understanding everything at once. It comes from courage, insight, and the ability to adapt. Humans are strange creatures, but perhaps your strangeness is exactly what Cytheria needs." Alex frowned. "Adaptation is fine. But politics? I don't even know your customs. I don't know the council members. They could overthrow me in a heartbeat." "Then you will learn," Liara said. "I will guide you. But your ingenuity will be tested. Today, you meet the council. They will judge you, question you, and perhaps even challenge your authority. Do not falter." The council chamber was massive, a dome of crystal and light. The air shimmered faintly as Alex stepped inside. Cytherian council members were seated in a semicircle, each taller than a human, each glowing faintly in the light. Their faces held expressions ranging from curiosity to suspicion. "Your Majesty," said a senior council member, his voice calm but firm, "we recognize your presence here, but we question the wisdom of entrusting a human with the leadership of our empire, especially in these dangerous times." Alex swallowed and met his gaze steadily. "I understand your concerns. I am not Cytherian, and I do not claim to know your ways perfectly, but I am committed to learning, to protecting your people, and to using whatever knowledge I have to ensure the safety and prosperity of Cytheria." Murmurs ran through the chamber. Some council members nodded slightly, intrigued. Others leaned back, unconvinced. Alex continued, drawing on his experience as a human leader, a captain trained to make decisions under pressure. "The raiders attacked yesterday," he said. "They will come again if we are unprepared. We need strong defenses, better coordination, and the ability to respond quickly. I can help organize that. Together, we can protect Cytheria." A younger council member, her skin a light shade of lavender, raised an eyebrow. "And why should we trust a human to manage our military? You are not familiar with our weapons, our ships, or our strategy." Alex smiled faintly. "No, I am not. But humans have a history of adapting quickly. We have fought against overwhelming odds with less technology than you possess. I can learn your systems, and in the meantime, I can offer strategic insight from a fresh perspective." Liara's eyes softened as she watched him. She had chosen wisely in trusting this human. His courage, intelligence, and honesty were exactly what Cytheria needed. After a tense silence, the senior council member spoke again. "Very well. You will have 1 week to prove your worth. During this time, you must participate in planning, defense, and diplomacy. Fail, and your authority will be challenged." Alex nodded, accepting the challenge. "I will do my best. That is all I can promise." The council dispersed, leaving Alex alone with Liara. "You did well," she said quietly. "Your confidence, your clarity, your willingness to admit your limitations, these are traits our council respects." Alex exhaled, feeling some of the weight lift from his shoulders. "Thanks, Empress, but I still feel like I'm walking blind. There's so much I don't know." "Then you will learn," Liara said. "You start with our people, the council, the military, and the citizens. See how they live, how they think. Humans learn by observation and interaction. Cytherians are no different, though their customs are unique." Over the next few days, Alex began to explore the capital. He visited the floating markets, the research academies, and the defense stations. Everywhere he went, people stared at him, the human who was now their king. Some were curious, others skeptical. Alex smiled, greeted them politely, and listened. Quickly noticed something. Cytherians were brilliant, yes, but they often relied too much on tradition. They had powerful technology, but they rarely used it in unconventional ways. That, Alex realized, was where humans could contribute. At the defense station, he examined the Raider attack reports. Zetherian ships were fast and powerful, but their tactics were predictable. Humans, by contrast, relied on creativity, improvisation, and deception. Alex suggested minor adjustments, small changes to patrol patterns, early warning systems, and resource allocation. To his surprise, the chief of defense, a stern Zetherian named Ralcor, listened. "Your ideas are unconventional," he admitted, "but they have merit. If you implement them, we may prevent future attacks." Alex smiled, realizing his first victory. Small, yes, but meaningful. Zetherians respected results, not words, and so, step by step, he was earning their trust. Meanwhile, Liara observed him closely. In private moments, she explained more about her people, their history, and the political tensions that ran beneath the surface. Rebels in remote cities questioned her rule. Envious council members tested her authority, and outside powers watched Zetheria as a potential prize. "You see," Liara said one evening, "Zetheria is a fragile world. One wrong move, and chaos spreads. That is why your presence, human, unexpected, and maybe exactly what is needed. You think differently. You act differently. That may save us." Alex nodded slowly. "I didn't come here to be a hero or a king, but if my skills can help, I'll do it." Their bond grew as they worked together. In meetings, in strategy sessions, in late-night discussions, Alex learned from Liara, and she learned from him. They respected each other, not as human and alien, not as king and empress, but as two leaders facing impossible odds together. One day, news arrived that a remote city had been attacked by raiders. The defenses had failed and civilians were in danger. Alex immediately organized a response. Using a combination of Zetherian technology and human tactics, he coordinated the defense remotely, directing reinforcements and guiding ships in formations that Zetherians had never considered. The attack was repelled. The city was saved, and the council took notice. Murmurs of admiration spread through the chamber. Humans, unexpected, untrained in their ways, had actually made a difference. Liara smiled at him privately. "You are learning fast. Not just surviving, but influencing the course of events. That is what leadership is about." Alex felt a strange mixture of pride and exhaustion. He was a human in an alien world, far from home, thrust into responsibilities he never sought. Yet for the first time, he felt he was making a real difference. That evening, he walked the palace gardens with Liara. The floating gardens were filled with luminescent plants, some that sang softly when touched, others that glowed in mesmerizing patterns. Zetherians called it a place of reflection. "You're adapting well," Liara said, her voice gentle. "The council may still be wary, but you are earning their respect. And soon, the people will trust you too." Alex looked out over the floating city, lights sparkling like stars below. "I hope so. I never imagined I'd be a king. But maybe I can help. Maybe humans really do have something special to offer." Liara smiled, and in that moment, Alex realized something important. Leadership was not about knowing everything, or about power alone. It was about courage, creativity, and the willingness to step into the unknown. And in this alien world, humans, resilient, adaptable, ingenious humans, might just be exactly what Zetheria needed. The week ended with a council meeting. This time the members were more attentive, their questions sharper, but their respect had grown. Alex answered with honesty, strategy, and calm reasoning. By the conclusion, even the skeptics nodded. He had survived his first trial, and as he returned to the palace chamber, Liara waiting for him, Alex realized the truth of her words. In this strange, beautiful, alien world, humans could shine. And perhaps, just perhaps, he could help shape a future where their ingenuity and courage became a beacon. The days on Zetheria had begun to blend together for Alex Mercer. though each carried its own challenges. Being an unexpected king was not a ceremonial role. It was constant, exhausting, and unpredictable. From morning briefings to defense drills, from council meetings to public appearances, Alex felt the weight of the empire on his shoulders. And yet he was beginning to see the value of his human perspective in a world that had long relied on tradition. One morning, Liara summoned him to the palace balcony. Below them, the city floated like a jewel in the violet and gold sky, its towers reflecting the twin suns. Hovering transport ships moved in precise formation, and the streets shimmered with energy fields keeping everything balanced above the clouds. "Today, Captain." "Your Majesty," Liara said with a small smile, "you will see the Council's true intentions." Alex raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "There are those among the Council who do not yet trust you," she explained. "They respect results, but they are also cautious. Today you will participate in a full strategic planning session. The fate of the northern defenses will be discussed. It is a test, and I expect you to contribute meaningfully." Alex nodded, steeling himself. He had learned some of the language, some of the customs, and had studied the Zitherian defense tactics. But he knew that today his ideas would be scrutinized more than ever. The council chamber was buzzing when he arrived. Members were already seated discussing troop allocations and patrol schedules. The air shimmered faintly as the meeting began, a subtle indication of the Zitherian energy network flowing throughout the room. "Captain Mercer," said Ralcor, the chief of defense, "you may begin with your observations." Alex took a deep breath. The northern defenses rely heavily on stationary energy barriers and predictable patrols. This makes them vulnerable to coordinated attacks. I recommend a more dynamic approach, shifting patrols, layered defenses, and early warning drones positioned outside the usual perimeter. A few council members exchanged skeptical glances. One, a tall Zitherian with silver skin and sharp eyes, leaned forward. "And you believe a human strategy can outperform centuries of Zitherian military planning?" "I believe fresh perspectives often reveal weaknesses that tradition overlooks," Alex replied calmly. "Humans have defended against superior forces many times by adapting and improvising. This is not arrogance, it is observation." Liara's gaze softened as she watched him speak. His confidence was not born of ignorance, it came from experience, critical thinking, and the courage to act when necessary. Ralcor finally nodded. "Very well. We will implement your suggestions on a trial basis. If your predictions hold, they will save lives." Alex felt a surge of relief. Small victories mattered. In a world full of skeptics and traditions, results spoke louder than... Years later that day, Alex visited the Northern Defense Outpost. The patrol ships glided silently through the sky, their energy shields shimmering in the sunlight. Soldiers greeted him cautiously, aware that a human now held authority over their operations. Alex inspected the systems, adjusted patrol schedules, and personally oversaw the deployment of early warning drones. By evening, reports came in. The drones had detected a group of raiders attempting to infiltrate from the northern approach. Thanks to Alex's adjustments, the defense forces intercepted them before they could reach the city. Casualties were minimal, and the council took note. In the palace that night, Liara met him in private. "You see, humans have a strength Zitherians sometimes lack," she said. "You think differently, you act differently, and you saved lives today because of it." Alex shook his head. "I don't feel like a hero, I just reacted. I did what needed to be done." "Perhaps," Liara said softly. "But in your doing, you demonstrated something important. Leadership is not only about decisions, it's about inspiring confidence. People follow those who act with clarity and courage." Their conversations had become more personal over the past week. Liara shared details of her responsibilities, the challenges of managing an empire, and the delicate balance she maintained between council, citizens, and military. Alex in turn spoke of Earth, of human struggles and achievements, of his experiences as a captain in the fleet. Through these exchanges, a bond began to form, not romantic, not yet, but a connection of respect, trust, and mutual reliance. Alex admired her intelligence and composure. Liara appreciated his courage and ingenuity. They were allies, partners in a fragile world on the brink of chaos. Then came the first real test. Intelligence reports indicated that a rebel faction had mobilized in a nearby city. They had stolen Zetherian technology and intended to attack the northern defenses. The council convened immediately, and Alex was summoned to join the strategic meeting. "This is serious," Ralcor said grimly. "If the rebels succeed, the northern approach falls, and the capital is vulnerable." Alex studied the holographic map of the city. "We cannot rely solely on static defenses," he said. "We need to split forces, some to defend, some to intercept, and some to gather intelligence. And I recommend using a small mobile strike team to disrupt their communication and leadership." A council member scoffed. "A human strike team against seasoned Zetherian rebels? That is reckless." "Perhaps," Alex admitted, "but the alternative is predictable failure. If we adapt quickly, we have a chance to win with minimal losses. Waiting will only increase casualties." Liara's eyes met his. Her unspoken support gave him strength. The council debated, argued, and finally, with her guidance, agreed to implement Alex's plan. The following day, Alex joined the mobile strike team. Using a combination of Zetherian technology and human tactics, they infiltrated the rebel base. Alex guided the team, improvising as unexpected obstacles arose. The rebels had expected a straightforward attack, but Alex's unconventional strategies caught them off guard. By nightfall, the city was secured. Rebel leaders were captured, their stolen technology recovered. The northern defenses were strengthened, and the capital remained safe. When Alex returned to the palace, exhaustion weighed heavily on him. But there was also a sense of accomplishment. He had acted decisively, saving countless lives, and proving that his human perspective was valuable. Liara greeted him in the private chamber. "You have done well," she said quietly, "not only in action, but in thought. You are beginning to understand Zetheria in a way few outsiders ever could." Alex looked at her, tired but grateful. "I'm still learning. There's so much I don't know about your people, your politics, your technology, but I'll keep trying." "You are more than trying," she said. "You are adapting, and that is what matters. The council sees your value now, and so do the citizens. Your place here is growing." Over the next few days, Alex continued to immerse himself in Zetherian life. He learned their language more fluently, studied their history, and engaged with citizens. Everywhere he went, he noticed curiosity and cautious admiration. Humans were outsiders, yes, but in Alex, they saw ingenuity and courage that inspired confidence. One evening, Liara invited him to the palace gardens again. The floating gardens were alive with luminescent plants, some of which sang soft, melodic tones when touched. Alex watched as she floated gracefully among them, a serene presence, amidst the chaos of leadership. "You're changing this empire, Captain," she said. "In small ways, yes, but meaningful ways. You are not just surviving, you are contributing. And that is why I trust you." Alex hesitated. "I never expected to be anyone's king, or to lead, or to be important here. It's overwhelming. Sometimes. Leadership is never easy," Liara said. "But humans are resilient. You learn quickly, you adapt, and you act when necessary. That is why you have survived your first trials, and why you will survive the ones to come." Alex took a deep breath. "Thank you for believing in me, for trusting me." Liara smiled, a rare warmth in her violet eyes. "Trust is earned, not given, and you are earning it step by step." The days turned into weeks. Alex's confidence grew, as did his bond with Liara. He began to understand the delicate balance of Zetherian politics, the importance of council opinion, and the value of decisive action. And while the threat of external enemies remained, Alex felt a sense of purpose he had never known on Earth. He was no longer merely a visitor, an outsider, or an accidental king. He was becoming a leader, a protector, and a figure the people could rely on. And alongside Liara, he was beginning to see that perhaps humans had a place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as problem solvers, innovators, and allies. As he stood once more on the palace balcony, watching the city shimmer under twin suns, Alex realized something profound. Leadership was not about titles or power. It was about courage, action, and trust. And in this alien world, far from home, he was learning what it truly meant to lead. The northern defenses were safe, the rebels subdued, and the council's respect growing. Yet Alex knew this was only the beginning. Greater challenges awaited, threats both from within and beyond the empire. And when those challenges came, he would need every ounce of human ingenuity, courage, and resilience to protect Scifi. For now, though, he allowed himself a moment of quiet satisfaction. He had acted, he had learned, and he had survived. And, in doing so, he had taken one more step toward fulfilling the unexpected destiny that had brought him to this alien world. Tomorrow would bring new trials. But Alex Mercer, human king of Scifi, was ready to. The calm of Scifi's floating capital was deceptive. Twin suns bathed the city in a golden glow, but the air beneath the light shimmered with tension. Word had reached the palace that a massive warlord fleet was moving toward the planet, its intentions clear: conquer Scifi and seize control of its advanced technology. Alex Mercer, still adjusting to his dual role as both human outsider and temporary king, studied the holographic map in the palace command chamber. Liara hovered beside him, her violet eyes sharp and calculating. "This is unlike anything we've faced before," she said. "The raiders were a nuisance. This is a coordinated strike, and their fleet outnumbers us by at least 3-1. Alex exhaled, rubbing his forehead. "Numbers alone don't decide battles," he said carefully. "They rely on standard tactics. If we can anticipate their approach, we can force them into disadvantageous positions. I just need to know what resources we have available." Ral Kor, the chief of defense, stepped forward. "Our ships are fully operational, but Scythian combat doctrine emphasizes energy shields and direct engagements. They are powerful but predictable. A different approach could surprise the invaders, but it carries risk." "Then we take calculated risks," Alex said firmly. "We have technology they cannot fully predict. I propose splitting our fleet into smaller mobile units. We use decoys to draw them in while the main force strikes at vulnerable command ships. I will oversee coordination personally." Liara's expression softened slightly, though her eyes were still serious. "This will be dangerous, Alex. If we fail—" "I know," he interrupted, "but doing nothing guarantees defeat. I'd rather take a risk we can control than wait for inevitable destruction." The council gathered, tense and wary. Many council members whispered among themselves, questioning whether a human strategy could truly protect the empire. Alex faced their scrutiny with calm resolve. "This plan," he explained, "uses unpredictability to our advantage. It will force the enemy to overextend their fleet, giving us critical openings. I will coordinate with Ralcor and the fleet commanders to ensure communication and flexibility." After long deliberation, the council reluctantly agreed. Liara nodded in approval. "You have my support. Scifi will act as one. Follow Alex's plan." The fleet assembled above the floating city, sleek Scythian ships glinting in the sun's light. Alex took his place in the command vessel, monitors, and holographic projections surrounding him. The invaders appeared on the sensors, massive warships forming a dark crescent against the bright sky. The first phase began. Mobile units moved swiftly, drawing the enemy in. Energy shields flared as decoys baited the warlord fleet into a trap. Alex coordinated every maneuver, anticipating enemy responses. Scythian captains were skeptical at first, but they quickly adapted to his commands. Suddenly, a warning blared. "Enemy frigates breaking formation. They are attempting a flanking maneuver." Alex's mind raced. "Divert half of our interceptor units to cut them off. Use short-range ambush tactics. Maximize speed and surprise." The orders executed flawlessly. The flanking ships were neutralized, and the warlord fleet found itself drawn into a gauntlet of attacks it had not anticipated. Scythian strategy, when combined with human unpredictability, created chaos in the enemy ranks. Hours passed. Explosions illuminated the skies as ships clashed. Alex coordinated relentlessly, adapting to every new move. By the end of the day, the warlord fleet, battered and disorganized, was forced to retreat. Cytheria had survived. In the aftermath, the council gathered once more. Even the skeptics now looked at Alex with respect, if not awe. "You have done what none of us thought possible," Ralcor said quietly. "Your strategy saved the planet." Alex shook his head. "It was not me alone. It was all of us. Fleet commanders, soldiers, and the people who trusted us to act. Leadership is not about glory. It is about responsibility." Liara approached him, her violet eyes reflecting pride and relief. "You have proven yourself, Alex, not just in strategy, but in courage. You acted decisively, with care and with wisdom. Cytheria owes you its survival." For the first time, Alex felt the weight of responsibility mix with the rare taste of accomplishment. He had faced impossible odds and survived. Yet, he knew the crisis was far from over. That evening, in the palace gardens, Liara shared a more personal concern. "The Empire is safe for now, but there is another matter. My child will soon be born. The future of the royal line depends not only on protection, but also on stability. I cannot ensure this alone." Alex looked at her, understanding the depth of what she was saying. "You mean, you need me to stand not just as a protector of the Empire, but as a partner in its future?" "Yes," Liara said quietly. "I trust you. You have demonstrated leadership, courage, and care. I need someone who can be both a leader and a guardian, for the Empire and for my child." Alex swallowed, feeling the magnitude of her words. He had never imagined fatherhood, let alone in a world so alien, and yet he felt a deep sense of purpose. "I will do everything I can," he said. "For you, for the child, and for Cytheria." Days passed, and Alex continued to prepare for potential threats while learning more about Cytherian governance and traditions. He worked closely with the council, Liara, and military commanders. Every decision, every strategy, reinforced his growing reputation as a capable and unconventional leader. Then came the intelligence report that set the palace on edge. A hidden faction within the council had been collaborating with outside forces, seeking to destabilize the Empire even further. Alex realized that the threats to Cytheria were not only external, but internal. He convened a secret meeting with Liara and trusted council members. "We cannot fight only with ships and weapons," he said. "We must also ensure loyalty within the Empire. We need intelligence, careful observation, and swift action against those who seek to betray us." Liara nodded. "You understand Cytheria in ways most outsiders cannot. I trust your judgment completely." Working together, they uncovered the faction's plans, exposing conspirators and neutralizing the threat before it could escalate. The Empire's stability remained intact, but Alex understood a crucial lesson. Leadership was not just about bravery in battle, it was about vigilance, foresight, and the ability to navigate politics as carefully as combat. As the days passed, the bond between Alex and Liara deepened. They shared responsibilities, strategized together, and prepared for the birth of her child. Through it all, Alex maintained humility, recognizing that every success was a collective effort. One night, while overseeing security protocols, Alex gazed at the glowing, floating city. He felt a profound connection to Cytheria, its people, and its future. The human who had arrived as a visitor, unconscious and unprepared, had now become integral to the planet's survival and destiny. Liara joined him silently, resting a hand on his arm. "You have done more than survive, Alex," she said softly. "You have become a part of Cytheria, not just a ruler, but a partner, a protector, and soon, a father." Alex met her gaze, feeling a mix of pride, fear, and determination. "I will not fail," he said. "Not the Empire, not you, not the child." The night was quiet, but the sense of responsibility weighed heavily. The Empire had survived its greatest threat yet, but Alex knew that leadership was an ongoing challenge. The decisions he made, the courage he demonstrated, and the alliances he nurtured would shape the destiny of Scitheria for generations. And for the first time, Alex Mercer truly understood what it meant to lead, to act decisively in crisis, to inspire trust, to balance courage with caution, and to face impossible choices with integrity. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, more threats from space, more political intrigue, and the eventual birth of Liara's child. But Alex was ready. He was no longer just a human visitor. He was a central figure in the destiny of an alien empire. The morning on Scitheria was bright, but tension ran beneath the golden skies. The Empire had survived attacks, rebellions, and conspiracies, but the ultimate challenge remained: the birth of Empress Liara's child and the consolidation of Alex Mercer's leadership. This was not merely a personal milestone. It was a symbol of unity for the entire empire. Alex stood on the palace balcony, overlooking the floating capital. Ships moved gracefully through the skies, patrolling the borders. Citizens walked in the streets below, curious and watchful, still adapting to the human who had become their king. Despite weeks of preparation, Alex felt a mix of excitement and nerves. Leadership had taught him to manage crises. But this, welcoming new life while holding the empire together, was unlike anything he had faced. Liara joined him silently, her violet eyes reflecting both determination and warmth. She placed a gentle hand on his arm. "Today is significant," she said softly. "Not just for us, but for Scitheria. The Empire watches us, and our actions will set the tone for the future." Alex nodded. "I understand. I'll be here with you every step. We'll do this together." Inside the palace, the birthing chamber was a blend of Scytherian technology and human practicality. Energy shields hummed softly, monitoring vital signs while attendants prepared medical tools and comfort devices. Liara reclined on a platform, serene but tense, focusing on controlled breathing. Alex remained at her side, offering encouragement and steady support. Hours passed. The palace was quiet, except for the soft hum of machinery and the occasional instruction from attendants. Alex held Liara's hand, never leaving her side. He marveled at her strength, how she balanced leadership, responsibility, and the intense, physical demands of childbirth. Finally, the moment arrived. Liara's eyes met Alex's and she nodded. He squeezed her hand, whispering, "You can do this. We're together." The chamber filled with soft light as Liara delivered the child. A small cry echoed and Alex's heart swelled with emotion. This tiny being, half human, half Scytherian yet entirely alive, was the embodiment of unity, hope, and the future of an empire. "Congratulations," Liara said, exhaustion softening her voice. "We have a son." Alex knelt beside them, gently, holding the newborn. His small, delicate fingers wrapped around his own, and for the first time, the weight of responsibility felt joyful instead of overwhelming. "He's perfect," Alex whispered, awe in his voice. Outside, news spread quickly. The people of Scitheria celebrated the birth of the heir, and for the first time, humans and Scytherians alike felt a true sense of unity. The empire had survived not only external threats but internal doubts, and now it looked to a hopeful future. In the days that followed, Alex's leadership grew stronger. He worked alongside Liara to reform governance, blending human problem-solving with Scytherian tradition. Council meetings became more collaborative, military strategy more adaptable, and citizens more engaged in civic life. The combined efforts of human ingenuity and Scytherian wisdom created an atmosphere of optimism and progress. Rebel factions, having seen the combined strength of Alex and Liara, ceased their activities. They realized that resistance was futile against a united leadership. Even those council members who had once doubted Alex now acknowledged his value. Trust, once tentative, became solid. One afternoon, Alex walked through the palace gardens with Liara and their child. The floating gardens shimmered under the suns, luminescent plants singing soft melodies. Alex marveled at how far he had come, from an unconscious visitor to a key figure in the survival and prosperity of an alien world. "You've changed Etheria in ways I never imagined," Liara said. "Not just with strategy or leadership, but with your perspective. Humans see things differently, and that difference has strengthened this empire." Alex smiled, glancing down at the small child cradled in Liara's arms. "I never imagined I'd be here, or that my life would take this path. But I'm proud to stand with you for the empire and for our family." Liara's expression softened. "We have faced crises together, Alex. We have survived attacks, conspiracies, and rebellion. And now we begin something new, a future that combines our strengths, human and Zetherian alike." As days turned into weeks, Alex and Liara worked tirelessly to ensure stability. Together, they implemented reforms, military innovation. Combining human tactics with Zetherian technology, they created flexible, adaptive defense strategies that could respond to threats faster than ever before. Council cooperation. Council. Members were encouraged to debate ideas openly, guided by principles of collaboration rather than hierarchy alone. Citizen engagement. Public forums allowed citizens to voice concerns and contribute to decision-making, fostering a stronger bond between the rulers and the people. Through it all, Alex remained humble, knowing that leadership was not about ego, but about service. His presence inspired confidence, proving that humans could bring resilience, creativity, and courage to even the most advanced alien civilizations. One evening, after a long day of planning and council meetings, Alex and Liara sat on the balcony, watching their floating city glow in the twilight. Their child slept peacefully between them, a living symbol of hope. "Do you ever miss Earth?" Liara asked quietly, her hand resting on Alex's. "Sometimes," he admitted, "but I have a new home now. And this family, this empire, has become part of me." Liara smiled. "And you have become part of Zetheria. Your presence has strengthened us all. Humans, you see, have qualities that even the greatest civilizations can learn from: courage, resilience, and the willingness to act when others hesitate." Alex chuckled softly. "I suppose that's the human way." "Yes," Liara said, her eyes reflecting the city lights. "And now, the human way will be part of Zetheria's story." News of the Empire's renewed strength spread across the galaxy. Neighboring worlds, once skeptical of Zetheria's stability, now recognized the combined power of human ingenuity and Zetherian tradition. Trade flourished, alliances formed, and peace, though always fragile, seemed achievable for the first time in decades. The birth of Liara's child, and Alex's acceptance of his role, had symbolized a new era. No longer was Zetheria vulnerable to internal or external threats. It had a leader who could adapt, think creatively, and inspire loyalty. And with Liara by his side, Alex felt that they could face any challenge together. In private moments, Alex reflected on his journey, from unconscious human outsider to king, protector, and now father. He had learned lessons no training or experience on Earth could teach. He understood leadership, courage, and the importance of partnership. He had grown in ways he never imagined, and his human qualities had earned him a place in an alien world's destiny. The Empire, once fragile and uncertain, now thrived under their combined guidance. Citizens smiled as they moved through streets, lined with energy fields and floating gardens. Ships patrolled the skies with confidence, knowing their leaders were both capable and caring. Even the council, once skeptical, embraced collaboration and innovation. Alex looked down at the child sleeping peacefully in Liara's arms. "We've come far," he whispered. "And this is just the beginning." Liara nodded. "Yes. Together, we will guide Zetheria into a new era, one of unity, strength, and hope. You have proven that humans, when guided by courage and integrity, can shine even among the stars. Alex felt a sense of peace he had never known. He had faced impossible odds, adapted to alien culture, and emerged not just as a leader but as a partner, a protector, and a father. His journey had been extraordinary, but the path ahead, full of potential and promise, was even more exciting. As night fell over the floating capital, the twin moons reflecting off the towers and streets, Alex realized the truth. Leadership was not about power alone, but about courage, trust, and the ability to inspire others. Humans, resilient and inventive, had proven they could not only survive but thrive across the stars. Cytheria's new era had begun, and at the heart of it, a human named Alex Mercer, king, protector, and father, stood ready to guide the Empire toward a future of hope, unity, and endless possibility. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the floating city, a reminder that this was only the beginning. And Alex, hand in hand with Liara, felt ready to meet whatever the galaxy would bring.